this video I'm building a cheap grow light with regular light bulbs that I got from the hardware store. Each pack of light bulbs was about $3, and the pie tins I'm using cost me about $2 for a pack of 10. First order of business is getting the tops off the light bulbs. I found the easiest way to do this was with a chisel. The smaller the better. Once I got the top off, you can see that the inside of these lights consists of nothing more than LEDs on a flat plate. Now this of course won't be true for all light bulbs. For this project you're going to need LED bulbs, which most hardware stores carry these days, rather than CFL bulbs or incandescent bulbs. Here I'm just testing the light. Now I'm putting electrical tape around the LEDs to insulate it from the heatsink, just because I thought it might make it a little bit safer, because the heatsink will come in contact with the pie tin, which will be exposed. I grabbed an old bit of a lamp and I used the bottom half of a vacuum cord to connect the broken bit of lamp that I had to wall power. First for this I strip both wires and connect each of the leads to one of the leads on the lamp connection. I use wire nuts for this, and I'll eventually duct tape around the wire nuts as well to make sure that they don't fall off. I'll individually wrap each one in duct tape, and then I'll duct tape the two of them together for some mechanical strength. Now I've made 4 of them, so I'm going to build a couple of grow lights. In the end I decided to use just one grow light per set of plants. So first I've got to build a housing to hold the grow lights in place. I'll do that with some of this old curtain rod that I have for my room. Obviously I wasn't using it anymore. Cut it into 3 pieces, and eventually I'll decide just to set up one of these structures. First I'll open up the channel a little bit more to allow for the lights to slide in better. And I'll do that again for the second side. Now I'll take this piece of wood and I'll cut it to the right length to sit between the 2 metal channels. I'll then drill some holes in the side of the channel to screw it in place. I'll then measure another piece of wood to cut the same size as this first piece, and I'll cut it on my bandsaw. If you don't have a bandsaw, you can cut this piece with a jigsaw or a miter saw. You could even cut it with a handsaw. Once I'm satisfied with the fit of both pieces, I'll screw them both into place. First I'm drilling pilot holes and then actually adding the screws with my impact driver. The reason I add pilot holes to something like this is because the wood is so small that it could easily crack. Piloting the holes first means that there's less chance of cracking and really doesn't result in any loss of strength. Now I'm going to cut a little snippet out of one of the channels to allow me to put a screw through one of the pie tins, or the reflectors for the lights, to allow me to stick it in place. Now I'm going to test the light, and eventually I'll decide that I just want one light in this section. Now I'll cut up this orange juice bottle that I'm going to use as a pot for one of my plants. Take the stickers off just to make it look a little bit nicer. After quickly washing it out, I'll bring it back and I'll plant the plants. Next I'll get started on the base. I'm going to cut an upright for it on my miter saw. This is an old piece of pallet wood, and I'm just cutting the cracked end off to use the better end of it for the upright of this build. If you don't have a miter saw, again, you can cut this in a number of different ways. I just used what I had on hand. Right, so next I'm just cutting a little piece to connect to the main light fixture. I'm going to use this to attach it nicely to the frame eventually. I'll adjust the height simply by unscrewing and screwing it back in at a different height when I need to when the plants grow. Now I'll take some string to reinforce the whole fixture using this new piece that I've added. Now I'll sand the upright just to make it a little bit cleaner looking. I'm sanding the face of it on my DIY belt sander that I made. I'm now going to use some screws that again I'll be pocket holing to attach the upright to the base of the structure. It's really a simple structure. All of the pieces of it come from pallets. Now I'll cut a support for the upright, which will just be a triangular shaped piece that I'll put in between the upright and the base. Normally you'd put this directly in the center, however I'm going to put it a little bit further back so that there's more room for plants on the base. Now I've got this nice sturdy setup, I can add the plants, and I can screw the light fixture on above them wherever I'd like it. Later on, I'd take out the extra bulb in the top of this and pare it down to just one. I've got a tomato, a pepper, and some hydroponic kale growing. Thanks for watching.